In recent news from Russia, there's been a report about Ukrainian soldiers making important moves in their battle. They managed to block a vital road that supplies the Russian forces. But here's the thing. The Ukrainians didn't go straight for that road. Instead, they achieved this by first defeating the Russian soldiers near a place called Verbov. Before this, we heard that the Ukrainian soldiers were mainly focusing on getting rid of strongholds in a second line of defense. They succeeded. After that, they had full access to a village. Then, they made the path bigger by breaking through the Russian defense line. Step by step, the Ukrainian soldiers moved about 1 kilometer forward and forced the Russian soldiers to retreat from their positions that were protecting their supplies. By doing this, they managed to block the road that connected Verbov and Novopropa. This was a big deal because it meant that the Russians could no longer quickly move their troops between these two places and had to take a much longer route. Blocking the road also gave the Ukrainians an opportunity to protect the side of their attack group around Novopropa. With this advantage in hand, the Ukrainian soldiers quickly changed their focus from Verbov to Novo. This move was a smart one, and it showed that the Ukrainian troops are making strategic moves to gain the upper hand in the conflict. In Novopropa, Ukraine has done some important things to prepare for an attack. According to Russian reports, Ukraine has cleared away all the trees to the northeast of the village. This means there's only an open field between Ukraine and the village. Additionally, Ukraine has taken control of all the defenses to the north of Novopropa. What's more, Ukrainian fighters have shared videos that show them using powerful artillery to get ready for their attack on the Russian positions along the contact line. This shows that Ukraine is getting all set to make a big move on Novopropa, and they seem well prepared for it. In Ukraine, there are some really cool rockets called the Ukrainian M270 multiple launch rocket system. These rockets are similar to something called HIMARS, but with even more rockets. They recently used these rockets to stop some Russians who were getting ready to attack from the north. The Ukrainians had a secret weapon. Their rocket system could fire twice as many rockets as the HIMARS. They used this powerful rocket system to hunt down the Russians who were trying to attack a village called Novopropa, which is in the northern part of Ukraine. The attack happened very quickly because the closest Ukrainian soldiers were only 400 meters away from the houses in Novopropa. The rockets hit the Russian positions in the village's northern outskirts. This strong attack forced the Russians out of about a dozen houses. Now this part of the village is safe from the Russian attack. It's like a special zone where the Ukrainians are in control. These rockets are helping to protect Ukraine and keep its people safe from harm. In Ukraine, the Russian soldiers tried to fight back by sending their big tanks to shoot at the Ukrainian soldiers who were hiding in shelters. They used powerful explosive shells, but something unexpected happened. Some of the Russian tanks either exploded because they hit hidden mines or got struck by special anti-tank missiles. The crew inside the tanks got really scared and left their tanks in a hurry. But the Ukrainian team wasn't done yet. They had a drone operator who knew what to do. This operator dropped a mine into one of the Russian tanks and boom! It exploded. Russian experts were not happy about what happened. They were disappointed because most of their equipment, especially the modern T-90 tanks, didn't make it out of the battlefield. Ukraine and even Russia itself were destroying this equipment either by using mines or other means. It was a tough situation for the Russian side as they lost a lot of valuable equipment during this battle. In some recent news from Russia, they're claiming a pretty interesting victory. They say their forces managed to destroy another Leopard tank, and what's even more surprising is that this tank had a fully German crew. According to the Russians, they got this information by listening in on the communications between the tank crew. They say a new tank, along with its German crew, arrived on the scene. However, they haven't shown all the video footage of this event yet. Meanwhile, things are heating up on the battlefield. Ukrainian troops have been advancing steadily for over 1 kilometer along the main defense line. This has cut off the Russian supply road and split their forces into 2 groups. With their flanks secured, the Ukrainians launched their first attack on Nova Propa. As a result of this assault, the Russians were pushed out of the northern part of the village, and they couldn't regain control during their counterattack. The situation is tense, and there are expectations of more attacks in the future. Russian fighters are reporting that Ukraine is gradually sending more troops to the front lines, so the conflict may intensify further.
Бігом, блядь, виходь, руки догори! Виходь сюди!
In recent months, Ukrainian forces have been steadily advancing in their counteroffensive efforts on the southern front. Just this week, they achieved a significant breakthrough in the village of Verbov, as indicated by the latest map shared by the Institute for War Studies, ISW. Verbov is a village located in Zaporizhzhia Oblast, not far from the captured town of Robotyne, which fell under Ukrainian control on August 28th. This village sits along the route to the Timak, we'll explain that in a moment, where Ukrainian General Alexander Tarnavsky is leading his troops as part of the Southern Front campaign. According to CNN, this front represents the minimum objective of Ukraine's ongoing campaign. It's important to note that Verbov isn't the final line of defense for the Russian forces in the region. West of Verbov, there's a line that establishes a boundary, but it's not the last line that the Russian forces might defend. Commercial satellite images have revealed that Ukrainian troops have been bringing heavy equipment closer to Verbov in recent days, which indicates their determination to maintain their progress in the area. The situation on the southern front remains dynamic and will likely continue to evolve.